Hello and welcome to another rather exciting Project Nigel video where I challenge myself to weld up this car, make it MOT worthy, and over the course of a week you see me do exactly almost that. Thank you.
It's time to get really serious with Janet Jackson.
I set to work, manipulating and messing around with my grinder before manipulating and messing around with a piece of metal with my grinder, hoping to make the perfect shape for the hole in the car. That's the hole. Yes, have a cup of tea. Make sure you don't put enough water in there. With all of my enthusiasm for trying to have a go at this, I've gone and made a mistake. I cut the piece of metal out last week, ready to go in, and then I've cut some more metal out of the car, which didn't look that good. So now that original piece of metal isn't big enough. So I've got to make it all over again. So here I am, a man on a mission to do the welding himself. Something that I've failed at in the past, but this time just a bit more determined. Everything I've learned in life I've pretty much taught myself. I can figure things out, and I'm a rather determined and usually very patient man when it comes to things, and I will succeed. I'm recording this now from the end of this video where I know the result but you don't. But what I can tell you is I end up covered in burns and dirt and all sorts of no, not everything you can imagine. All of the things associated with welding a car whilst outside with a trolley jack is there. No, I'm sorry, but we've already done this part. Speed it up a bit, yes. Data Janet Jackson. It's kind of a mix of a couple of names for various reasons. I'd say don't ask me why, but then you probably will ask. It's my full intention to spend the whole day fabricating pieces for this car so the sills can be welded up and it can be turned into a nice road-worthy little L series Rover 25 yet again. However, due to many things getting in the way, such as phone calls, lunch and other bits of things like that, I didn't really get very far. It's going worse than expected. So badly I daren't even show you because I'm embarrassed. Okay, it's not a pretty job, but it is actually solid. Do you like being uncomfortable?
Yes.
Do you like being too hot? Do you like blobs of molten metal scattering all over your body? Probably not. The thing is, unless you don't actually mind that, you're going to find welding the most dissatisfying thing going. I knew I was going to end up spending all day doing this just for one patch and it's still not to be right. Obviously, when you get some sort of quote for welding to be done, and it's being done by somebody who knows what they're doing, it still takes time to fabricate those bits of metal and stick them together properly and then sand it all back so it looks just right. It's tailgater alert. In front there's a pickup with a rather heavy looking thing on the back, and I don't see the point in driving right up its arse. But the lady behind me in the Nissan Duke does. She's backed off a bit now, but I could literally see her nasal hair just a second ago. Anyway, the best shot that I have with the sills on this car is it will take me another day to do the other side, and then another day to fill and paint the bits. So it's basically 3 days just to fill a couple of holes for its MOT. Yet another rather lovely, splendid day, full of grinding bits of metal with safety glasses on and looking at that. It's fun! The results aren't pretty, but they should do. Offside, complete, sort of. It's solid, the two bits of metal have stuck together, they're not coming apart. I've put a bit of filler on and then afterwards I'm just going to spray it with something to seal. It's not going to look like a restoration, it's an MOT repair, that's simply it. I'm not anywhere near, I can't say this with a straight face, I'm not anywhere near getting much better than that. So the other side that's already been done looked like it was going to be not really much to do besides just scrape a bit of rust off. No, that's going to be a lot more tricky because it's on the inside as well. A nice thick piece of metal there that I'm going to cut a chunk off about that big and then just basically rub it back and stick it down. That's for the inside. For the outside, I made a piece of metal that was the right shape and everything, but as I started attaching it, it sort of become a bit less the right shape. Anyway, and then further to that, it started to drizzle a little bit, anticipating that it might actually properly rain. I've had to bring everything back inside. It's Saturday and I don't want to be taking the chance of trying to do some more welding when there's a possibility of it raining. And there is a possibility of it raining because it is Britain. And that's why we have cars with rotten bits in the first place, because of the weather. Let's not make excuses for it. This country and its weather. And it's great British summertime. Anyway, it's resolved easily enough. All I've got to do is put this out in the rain, which is not really perfect. Right, I am set up, car jacked up, wheel off. This does reach the power point. My extension, which was spaghetti all over the place, I wound it all back onto the reel because it was just, so much. Right, let's get on with this. Beyond a few tips that I've had about welding, it's all pretty much trial and error. See what works, turn up the wire speed, turn down the amps, turn down the frog meter, whatever it takes, I'll figure it out. It's time to go home, but before I go, we have a nice patch in there now. Oh, I've just put some filler on it just to smooth it out, but obviously that's not been sanded back down, so it does look just a bit on the rough side. Now we've come to the really rather awkward bit. You see, I have a bit to weld on the inner sill on this car, on this side. There's not really enough room for me to work on this there. If I turn it around, there won't be enough room because of the door. If I bring it inside, there's not enough light, and I need it jacked up properly so I can get right underneath it. So far I've just been doing things from the side. I think I need to be underneath the car. I might have a solution. That's the answer. It's the only answer. That should be pretty safe. I'm starting to not enjoy this so much. I need a better way of being underneath the car than just this, because well, that looks like it's quite high up. I can't move around under there. I can get under there, but I can't turn over. As I crawl under from the back. I was going to crawl under from this side, but I'm not really comfortable with that at all. Yeah, I think that's going to be the answer. You can see now why you need quite a lot of room to do this. You know, there are jobs that you do underneath a car, and I don't like them. I don't like being underneath the car particularly. But when you need both arms and to keep a mask on, and you're getting covered in molten metal and and dust, it's really not a pleasant experience at all. Unusually, I've got to nip home by 12 o'clock, which is a bit of, oh gosh, right, hang on. Balls! Turns out I don't have to go back after all now because of a cancelled plan. Not great when I've put absolutely everything away and locked everywhere up properly. As I was reasonably close to getting home when I had that phone call telling me that I don't need to go home after all, I thought I might as well just carry on, get something to eat and have a little think about how to approach this problem. Because the problem that I'm having here is with a bit of the inside of the sill, where it's more crumbly than expected. And it's really difficult to access it whilst you're just climbing underneath it. Climbing under the back was a bit easier, but it's still really awkward. I went back to work and had myself a little think for about 2 hours and then went home. You could say that I'm feeling somewhat beaten, somewhat defeated by the corrosion on this car, because I've not been able to complete it. I was hoping to have finished it off today, but that bit on the inner sill I just can't really quite get at, and it's just, I've had them look at it in the garage next door and they're going to do it. They're going to finish it off where I can't quite get to that bit. You need to be properly underneath the thing, not scrabbling around like that. So I'll go in and help. I'll go in and help them, so I don't feel like I'm a complete failure at this. But yeah, I can't do it. So I think with that, I'm going to finish this video off now and edit it, and just say thank you for watching, and thank you for liking, and thank you for being a channel member. Only 99 pence or more. Thank you to all my subscribers, and hopefully in the next episode of Janet Data Jackson it will have an MOT. I might just add here that I'm not giving up easily. I spent all morning not getting the job done that I wanted. I spent all morning clambering around underneath a grotty car and it just didn't stick.